Fitzgerald. I'm going to be your host this evening. Now, you may be wondering, what the heck is a rookie reset? Well, friends, it would be an evening just like this, except your girl would be stressed the hell out because I couldn't imagine my classroom, and quite frankly, I couldn't figure out this whole teaching thing. So, what we do here on the Rookie Reset is help new teachers stay in the game. That's my goal. Now, because a lot of times new teachers quit too soon because they are just not getting the support they need. So I am the professional learning. I am the PD that you need. But we are here every Tuesday, 5:15, 5:45. Y'all know how we roll. Y'all know, listen, that's my consistency out here. But yeah, we here every Tuesday. So please share with a new teacher. Come into the Rookie Reset. So, friends, the title of today's Rookie Reset, y'all, is Less is More. Do not yell at the children. Hear me loud and clear. Do not yell at the children. So I had to learn this the hard way. You know, when I first became a teacher, I remember I was sitting on the sideline, and because before they gave me the role, they let me just kind of sit at the desk and kind of see what was going on in class. And they had a sub in there, and man, them kids were tearing her up, man, tearing her up. So I go in, I was like, you know what? When I'm in this class, I'm gonna be hard body, I'm gonna yell, I'm gonna scream. And you know what? After a while, the folks, listen, I was screaming every day and they stopped responding. You know, like you just it's not sustainable, y'all, to yell. But it doesn't work. It does not work, y'all. Them kids are not listening to you. You yelling, you stressed out, they stressed out. Like, it's not working. You know, I always say that culture and relationships are the heart of your classroom. Well, guess what, y'all? My first year, my class was in heart failure, baby, because the kids were stressed out. I was stressed out. I was screaming. I was yelling. That was my classroom management. I ain't had no classroom management plan. That was it. I'm gonna yell and scream till you do what I said I need you to do. And that's what it did not happen. So you may say, well, Fitz, what do I do instead? Because you was a new teacher. You might be like, girl, I'm tired of screaming too. Well, listen, I got a couple things that I want to talk about when it comes to this. So before we get into what you can do instead of yell, I just want to give you a couple of considerations. Here's some things to think about when it comes to yelling at kids and why it does not work. So the first thing is ask yourself, as an adult, as a grown adult, do you listen to people when they yell at you? You know, the only person that I listened to that yelled at me was my basketball coach. That was it. Everyone else yelling and screaming is not my form of communication. I usually don't respond to that. I don't know about you, but I certainly do not. So that's what you have to ask yourself. Like, do you respond to that? Why do you think 15-year-olds are going to respond to that? Because it's really about disrespect. You know what I mean? Like, if you got to give respect to get it. And I think that's what I had to learn, because I think a lot of times, you know, especially I think growing up in like black culture, it's like you just do what adults tell you to do. You know what I mean? But it's a mutual thing. Like, respect is a two-way street. You got to give it to get it. And this is the deal. This is what I always tell people. Kids will match your energy. I promise you they do. They will match your energy. You know, I always tell people about the time that y'all, my first year balling a budget, wore the same pants every day. I'm talking about, listen, switched up the shirts. And you know, one day I tried to go back and forth with a kid, and you know what happened? She came for me. Like, she said, and you wear the same pants every day. And I ain't had no clapback for her. I really didn't. I just said, all right, I said, girl, you right, I'm going to Macy's this weekend. Listen, I had no clapback for her. But I had a point I was making to that. But the deal is, students will match your energy. That's what I'm trying to say. Because you ask yourself, how do you get students to buy into what it is you sell? You got to be real, you got to be authentic. And if you puffing up and you giving that type of energy, they gonna match that joint. And a lot of times they'll say things that you cannot respond to. So that's why, like, the going back and forth arguing, it doesn't work. So please, guys, don't yell, don't do it. It's not a good look. The other thing is losing your center. When you lose your center, you lose leverage, and it really shows that they have got the best of you. You know, like that day that student said you wear the same pants every day, I really wanted to clap back at her, y'all. I really did. I was like, listen, she better, but I had to self manage myself that day. So you don't, it's almost like the more you scream and the more you yell, they kind of like, oh man, I got her. Like I got her. Like, gee, listen, look, I got him, I got them. Like, whatever. So it's like you lose leverage and they lose respect for you when you lose your center. So it's really about managing yourself. Like that's all the yelling is. Like, we human beings, people gonna piss you off. They are, like, it's just part of the game. It's part of being a teacher. Like, things are gonna happen. Maybe they won't bring their homework back. Maybe they catch attitude. Whatever. It's going to happen. But it's all about us self-managing ourselves. Not to say I should avoid how I feel, but acknowledge how you feel, and it's all about how we respond. You know, I learned that today in one of my coaching sessions today, that we are responsible for ourselves. But I think the other thing to consider, as I said before, they will say something to you that you cannot respond to. And you do not want that to happen. I didn't know what to say that day when that girl said, and you and you wear the same pants every day. Another thing I think to consider is that when you are going back and forth, you're losing instructional time. That's their goal. That's what they want you to do. They want to get you off your game. Because I saw, it was a teacher I was coaching many years ago, and he had asked a student for the cell phone. And you know what? That girl was like, I ain't giving him my cell phone. Them folks argued for 10, 15 minutes about cell phone. It took away from instructional time. So that's why yelling is not the best mode. Going back and forth with children is not the best mode to get the things done that you need to get done. Okay. So what should I do instead? So I'm yelling, I'm screaming, I'm tired of screaming. What should I be doing instead? Listen, I got y'all, rookie teachers. Let's talk about it. So I think one of the first things you do is know your triggers. That's really important. You gotta know the things that set you off. Because and that's why I would say self-awareness, most powerful tool in the universe. Because if you know your triggers, you can manage them better. So when the kid do something to tick you off, then you know how to manage better. Like, it bothered me. My trigger was, I don't like when people don't put forth effort. That bothers me. Like, dang, like, you in this joint, you getting this free education, and you ain't picking up your pencil, you ain't putting forth no effort. Like, that bothered me. So I'm gonna try to argue and try to convince you to want to do it. And I was like, you guys should care about education like I do. Listen, that's not sexy. Like, that doesn't motivate you. So yeah, you gotta be aware of those, because those are the things that can set you off. You end up yelling back and forth with kids, right? So you want to know those things. The next thing, what you don't want to do not argue with the children. Don't do not argue. Do not do that, because as I told you before, they will come for you and they'll say something that you cannot. You're like, dang, I can't even clap back on this. Girl, you wear the same pants every day. Listen, how am I gonna clap back on that? And I think above all, the one way to manage the yelling, the screaming, the simplest way to do it, y'all, is have a system, structures, routines, and a contingency plan. So here's a prime example. So let's go back to the teacher that was coaching. 15, 20 minutes instructional time arguing about cell phone. So in high school, classes are only 55 minutes. I spent 20 minutes, the teacher spent 20 minutes arguing about that cell phone. And that girl still didn't give it up. So this is where you have a system, a structure, a routine, or what I call a contingency plan. If that happens, you already got in place. Like, I want you to think about this. You go out to eat. Before you have arrived, they have already thought through potential scenarios that can happen. They know you're going to come. They're going to have a hostess there to seat you. They're going to have a waitress to take your order. They've got a cook in the back to cook your food. And it's the same thing in your class. You want to already have something in place for when this happens. Kids are going to have cell phones. I taught high school. I knew they were going to have cell phones. I'm not tripping on that. I just don't want you to have them out during instructional time. So for example, the contingency plan, like, let's go back to that example. I'm not going to argue with you about a cell phone. I refuse to do it. I'm not gonna argue with you about that. But what I am gonna do, I'm gonna say this: hey, if I'm gonna ask you for it once, And if you give it to me, I'll give it back to you when the class is over. Or, I think our policy back then was it goes to an administrator for 3 days. It's gonna happen, right? Um, but if you refuse to not give it to me, like, I'm not gonna argue with that. I'm just gonna write it up and give it to an administrator, and they can do what they do with it. And normally, when a student refused, then they would take whatever next steps. It might be like, oh, you get a 1 day suspension or overnight, or we take the cell phone, whatever. But listen, I'm not gonna waste instructional time arguing with you about a cell phone. So the policy is the policy. I'm gonna ask you for it. You said yes, great. Give it to you in the class. You said no, great. Then I'll just write this referral up, hand it over to administrator, and they can take the next steps. I did my job. So having a system and a contingency plan is a better way instead of yelling. Because my first year, my classroom manager plan was, I'm gonna yell until you do what I say you're gonna do. And as we said before, nobody listens to that. Like, there is nobody on the planet that listens to that. Like, one thing that I continue to learn as I do my more of my self-development work, you cannot change other people. Screaming and yelling is not the way to make them want to do it. So, have something in place to address the things so you don't yell about it. Like, some people, they're stickler for, they're stickler for people writing their names on their paper, how they do it. So, like, that's why I say, again, knowing yourself is so important. I knew that I'm not like a super neat person. Certain things I ain't tripping on. Like, I'm not about to blow up on you about, like, what you not having a pencil. Other people, that's a big deal. Know your triggers. What's my plan for that? Know yourself and your trigger. What am I going to do to address that? So have a system in place based on those things that you know about yourself. And I think another thing, now this is not going to be in your teacher prep program, but I highly recommend that you have one of these. And if you're in high school, you got, like, this is a requirement as a high school teacher. And I say any teacher, because this is one of the best tools you can have instead of yelling. And it is called a clap back game. Listen, guys, they're however old, kids, they're going to push your boundaries. They're going to. They're going to say things, because this is the thing about kids, like, they pay attention. Like, when I wore them same pants every day, I didn't think they even noticed. They noticed. They noticed, and they said something. When I tried to come on, she said, and you wear the same pants every day. So what I say that to say, they pay attention. So this is why I say self-awareness is so important. It's like, so if you say something, I got to clap back to get a class back on track. Now, let me be clear about what a clap back is not. Clap back is not, I'm going to, like, be the Wicked Witch of the West. I'm going to be really mean. But this is just a quick, witty comeback to get your class back on track. Right? So here's a prime example. My brother, he used this clap back all the time. And I think it is so good. It is so good. So, they come back from the break. It's like January, right? And he comes back. Sometimes on the break, kids forget how you operate up in this thing. So they talking, they da 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 da. They being loud. He said, "Wait a minute, this is not. This is. I know this is a brand new year, but this is not new year, new me. You don't talk while I'm talking. So let's get back to this math, right? So it's like, it's just a quick response to get your class back on track. And you acquire these as you go, but you gotta be like, you gotta have what they call, I think in one of the books they call it wittiness. And this is just like, hey, like, it's almost like having a presence. You command the class, and you have a presence, but you like, our goal is our goal. Like, we still moving toward this thing. Like, it don't matter, you trying to get this thing off track, whatever. Like, we still getting in here and we doing this work. So it's just that those comebacks get. And I'll tell you some other ones. This is also from my book. So one thing the kids used to say, they come in and like, oh man, this is today a free day. Of course it's free. I'm not charging you anything for this good math instruction. Let's go. Right? So this is really you just doing what you got to do to get your class back on track. Just witty comebacks to get your class back on track and working towards. So that's one of the ways to just kind of minimize some of the yelling. And it also sends a message that, like, this teacher's not going to be diverted by me trying to, get us off track. Like they still like, okay, and let's get back to it. Let's get back to it. So that's really what it's all about. But yes. But thank you all so much for tuning in. Just to recap what we did today. So a couple of things we want to consider that most people don't listen when you yell. It's disrespectful. They just don't. Um, when you lose your center, you lose leverage. They're not listening. They're not listening, and they're like, "Oh gosh, I won," because they could not manage himself. The other thing, you lose instructional class time. That's it. That's it. That's the goal. You lose instructional time when you yell, screaming, going back and forth. So just a couple things to consider is number one, know your triggers. This is really about you knowing yourself. What really matters to you? What really matters to you? What are the things that set you off? Is it, I hate when kids don't have pencils, or I hate when they don't have paper? Whatever. Have a plan for that. Like, for me, I didn't give a crap about pencils. I didn't give a crap about paper. Like, I'm not arguing about whether you got paper now. I'm just gonna have a stack, and if you need a piece of paper, I'm gonna give it to you, right? But this is all about you knowing yourself and what sets you off. Like, I know Miss Holmes, she had a big thing about like how people wrote their name in her class. You know, I don't know if y'all remember. Y'all remember we had like a whole debate about how students write their name on their paper. Y'all remember that? Shout out to the camera crew. Y'all remember that? That was hilarious. But yes, some people have certain things they're sticklers about those. You want to know those. Know those for yourself. This sets me off. Know that. The other thing is, do not argue. They will come for you. Kids, pay attention. They will say the thing that is an insecure you. They will say it. Listen, they be like, "Oh, girl, what's up with your edges?" Like, they're gonna say it, y'all. So don't argue, because you don't want them to say something that you cannot bounce back. Like I did, and said, "Oh, you wear the same pants every day." I was like, "Oh, next problem." And no comeback for that. Also have a system and contingency plan. So a lot of times you can eliminate the yelling just by already having a plan before they come to the door. Well, what if they pull out the cell phone? So I don't have to go back and forth about that. Okay, this is the policy. This is what we're going to do. So have a plan before they enter the door for the things that you know are a stickler for you. The last thing, this one is a bonus. One of the ways to stop yelling, get you a clapback game. And this is not about being disrespectful, because that's not what a clapback is. It is about clap back, let's shut it down and get back to this lesson. That's what the clapback is all about. So thank y'all so much for tuning in. Let's get out there this week and do those rookie reset push-ups. And for all my rookies, I want you to keep that rookie state of mind. Well, what's that, Fitz? Remember, the level up is in the losses. Problems are a privilege. And yes, you might be new to this, but I know you're true to this because you're in this moment right now. And I believe in each one of you. So let's get out there this week and let's do those rookie reset push-ups. I believe in all of y'all. And we'll be back next week. And I'm out. Wait a minute. Before I'm out. For all my rookies. Listen, I got to say this. I got to say this for all my rookies. Check this out, y'all. I'm offering something for you. So over the past couple weeks, I've had several teachers reach out to me and they're like, "Yo, I'm struggling. I'm about to be out." Listen, we don't need that, y'all. We don't need that. We know a good teacher change the game. So what I'm offering new teachers is $5 PD. That's right. You heard it. $5. That's it. $5 every session. And I think it's going to be 4. So that's $20 to get you some PD so that you are not stressed and had a Sunday scary, Sunday heebie-jeebies, so you don't have it no more. But I know that new teachers are balling on a budget. They like, listen, pay for training. How? Who? When? Listen, $5, y'all. That's it. I really just want to help new teachers stay in the game. So if you know a new teacher that needs some love, you like, "Girl, I'm about to quit," send them my way. $5. Go to bit.ly/$5 PD. bit.ly/$5 PD. Well, thank y'all so much for tuning in. It's been a plum pleasing pleasure. And we out.